All right, so as I mentioned, we are recording this session. My name is Erin. I am the Student Recruitment Officer with UBC Engineering. So we are here to help answer all the questions that you have about course registration today. So I do have some colleagues that you can see on screen with me today who are going to help answer some of your questions. So I'm going to get Claudia to introduce herself first. If you can tell us a little bit about who you are and your position with Engineering Academic Services.
Yeah, sure. Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Erin. My name is Claudia. I'm an Associate Academic Advisor in Engineering Academic Services. And I'm part of a team of advisors that are there to help students like you that are just coming in. We are particularly suited to helping year one students who are just coming in with everything from registration, which will be one of your first tasks that you'll do here at UBC, right on through till the end of your degree. Yeah, so it's great to be here. Erin, did you want me to just go on and talk a little bit more about what we do in Engineering Academic Services at this point? And
yeah, that would be great. So for all of our students joining, you've probably received emails specifically from myself. After June 1st, your connection point will be with Engineering Academic Services. So Claudia, why don't you tell us a little bit more about why students might reach out to EAS and the different supports kind of provided?
Yeah, like I said, we're with you basically from the beginning to the very end until you graduate. In fact, we just finished graduating just today, so we got everybody sorted out for graduation. So yeah, the kinds of things, of course, registration to begin with, then it, supports in changing that registration as you go along. We have all the information. We're connected with all sorts of other resources on campus. We can, if we're not able to help you specifically, we can certainly connect you with people who can help you. Concessions might come up during your degree. We're the people that will help you with that. Academic concessions, let's say you can't sit a final exam or need to withdraw from a course for something. So any of those kind of issues that come up, we'll deal with graduation, second year placement. We will also be involved in that. So any of that information, I know that'll be at the top of your mind in about 6 months or so. That'll really start becoming the most important thing that you're thinking about, second year placement. So we're there for all of those kinds of things and supports.
Awesome, thank you. And I also have a student with me, Carolina. So Carolina, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Carolina. I just finished my first year at UBC in engineering, and I did it in the pre-biomedical timetable. So I'm planning on continuing in biomedical engineering this year, hopefully with the second year placement. Yeah, and I'm from Ontario. So I moved across the country and lived in residence during first year, and I love biking. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, so Carolina's here to help answer any of those questions that you might have about kind of the first year experience, and Claudia's here with me to help answer any of those academic specific sessions.
Yeah, perfect. Now we're seeing the standard timetables, or we can see all of them. Yeah.
Thank you both for your help. So this is a screenshot of what you will see, or similar to what you will see on the website currently. So this is our courses website. After we finish the presentation today, I'm going to post all of these links to the Facebook group as part of the video so that you'll see all of that information there. So what we're going to go through is kind of what those standard timetables are. So when you go through course registration for UBC Engineering, you are going to be selecting a standard timetable that is most relevant to you. So Carolina already mentioned that she was in the pre-biomedical engineering standard timetable this year, and that is just one of several standard timetables. So I'm going to go through kind of what those are. Again, this information I will post in the comments on Facebook when I post this video, so you will have all this detail. You don't need to know it all. what the slides are showing you is really just walking you through the website of what you need to know. Now, the most important thing I will say this evening is that none of this is going to be live for you to see the next year's courses until June 1st. So things are a little bit delayed this year, and that means that you won't be able to see this content for 2021 winter. I can't even see it online for 2021 winter yet, so that's why I'm showing last year's slides, just so that you can see what it looks like. But if you go to the courses website after June 1st, you will see all of the relevant information for this year. So we're just going to quickly walk through what some of those STTs are. So there's quite a few of them. The HS STT is pretty much the standard one that most students will register in. And so it doesn't matter whether you took calculus or not in high school. All students coming into first year will take Math 100. And that is what the HS STT contains, just basically your standard courses. Some of the more specialized ones include the HP STT. So if you haven't taken Physics 12 or equivalent, and you don't complete Physics 12 or equivalent by the end of the summer, then you would register in the HP STT. Now, for those of you that may be missing Physics 12 or equivalent, you should have a note in your offer letter that says that, and you should have received an email from Engineering Academic Services as well, outlining kind of some pieces surrounding that. So you will know those pieces if you happen to be missing Physics 12 or equivalent. We do recommend, if you can in any way, if you are missing it, to complete it by the end of the summer, and then you can go into the regular HS STT if you're able to complete it by end of summer. The other STTs I want to mention are the HZ STT or HZ STT for any Americans. We say Z in Canada. And for the HZ STT, that includes honors math courses. So there are some specific requirements around taking honors math. It is going to be a much more in-depth, faster-paced math course. So the regular math courses are already like pretty decent difficulty level, and maybe Carolina can speak to this later about kind of what she thought. She's nodding yes, that her math courses were definitely pretty intense already. So the honors math is really a step up from that. And so it is really for students who are looking for a super challenging math class. The other options are students who are interested in the pre-med alternative pathway. The deadline to apply to the pre-med alternative pathway is this Saturday, May 15th. So if you are interested in that, make sure that you apply in advance so that you could take that STT if you're interested in it. If you're planning on going to medical school and you're not taking the pre-biomedical engineering pathway, then this is another option for you to get some of those extra courses, like a full year of chemistry, into your schedule. The other options that we have, there will be an HV STT this year, and that is for varsity athletes. And then finally, there is the PBME STT. So PBME STT has some specific requirements around it. So you will need to apply to the supplementary form that you should have received an email about already, about the application process for that. If you are given permission by the biomedical engineering department to register in that STT, you'll get some more information specifically from biomedical engineering. There's a couple of kind of interesting pieces around it. So when you go to add that STT, you won't actually see your chemistry in there yet. Your chemistry will be added after. So it's really important that you read the notes at the top of the screen to understand what time those chemistry courses are, so that you can make sure that you schedule your humanities and your English around those STTs. All right. So that's what the STTs are. And so many of you already know from emails that I sent you that our standard timetables are really like a cohort system. So other students in your standard timetable are going to be taking courses at the same time, and you'll see familiar faces and things like that. So it's really just kind of a cohort built into your registration process. The standard timetables also include all of your core courses, but you do also need to add your first year English, which is a recommended course, is Words 150B, as well as your humanities and social science elective. And I will add more links when we post this video as well, but Engineering Academic Services has a great website that if you received the email from me on Saturday, you would have seen that link in that email that you can actually search through all of the humanities courses that are approved for engineering students. All right, so that is really a brief rundown of what all of those STTs are, and one that I haven't mentioned yet. So when it actually comes time to registration, some STTs do fill up faster than others, so some will have only a few seats, some will have many seats. So it is important that when you're planning your courses and planning your schedule, which you can start doing after June 1st, but after June 1st, once you start that planning, you want to pick a few that will work for you, and you can kind of map out those schedules using your STT, adding in English, adding in your humanities to kind of see that whole practice of what it'll look like. But what you do need to know is that if you are going to register for your STT and say all of the HS STTs are full when it comes to the time for you to register, there will be what's called a transitory STT. So that is an HSAR STT, and that is kind of like a placeholder. So it lets us know that you need to be registered. We just don't always know exactly how many types of different STTs we need before registration starts. So that's why we have those placeholders. So if you do see all of the HS STTs fill up and then you see an HSAR STT or the transitory STT, that will be what you register in at that point in time. You will for sure get your first year classes, so you don't have to worry about that. We will make sure that you take those courses, but that's just kind of one note to keep in mind. All right, for the other pieces I mentioned, so you do have to take a first year English, as I mentioned. WRDS 150B is what our recommended first year English course is, because it is focused on writing from like a research and academic perspective. So there's going to be a lot of different topics that you can choose from, and those will all be posted again closer to that June 1st date on the WRDS website, where you can look and see what all of those different topics are for courses. There is the option to take an English course, so if you are more focused on literature, there are English options as well. So any of those first year English courses, if you meet the requirements, are suitable. So an example is English 110. For the humanities course that you have to add, it's basically going to be any course offered by the Faculty of Arts for the most part, except for any sort of performance-based courses. Again, on the Engineering Academic Services website, you can see all of those approved courses, so it's really easy to have a look through, but I think there's like over 400 or some approved courses already, so there's lots of options for you to choose from. Now, Carolina, you're taking your humanities this summer, and I know that you have taught their first year students. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you chose what humanities you wanted to take, or kind of some of the other types of humanities courses that some of your friends maybe enjoyed this year?
Yeah, for sure. So I would just say when choosing your humanities, keep in mind your interests and what you want to do outside of engineering. I looked at the humanities elective as a good opportunity to have a course that kind of explores my other interests outside of a lot of the STEM, like math and physics-based courses. So personally, I really like psychology, so I'll be taking that this summer. I know a lot of people who took econ, but some of them really loved it and some of them really hated it. So really just consider what you are actually interested in doing, and not necessarily just what your friends are doing or what you think will be easy, because if you're interested in it, then it'll make it a lot easier. I also have a lot of friends who did language-based courses, so they did Spanish or French, and they really enjoyed those as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insight. So yeah, there's really so many options, whether you want to take a language, whether you want to do any other like psychology or any sort of social science or anything like that. So you really have a lot of opportunities in those courses. All right, so the next pieces I want to walk through are in the slides, but I don't have the slides in front of me, so I don't know exactly which ones they are. But if you skip to the next one, Carolina, there should be some more information about kind of how to register in your courses. So essentially, if you can just slowly skip through the slides so that we can see all of them, just the next few slides are going to show you that in the Student Service Center is where you can, which is the same place where you have accepted your offer to UBC. You'll be able to see the course schedule. Reminder, this will not be live until after June 1st, so you will not see it. But what's important to look at is that you select in the top right-hand corner that it says 2021 winter session, whereas on the screen right now you will see 2020 winter session because 2021 winter session is not live until June 1st. That is where you will check that you were in the right session. It should default to that after June 1st, but it's possible that it might default to the summer session. So that's where you just kind of want to make sure that you're in the right session. You can create a new work list. You will go in and select your STT that you're looking for. You would then add your English and Humanities. And then closer to registration time, so about a week before July 6th to 8th, you will get an email that will tell you your exact time and date to register. So first year registration is happening July 6th through 8th, which means that you can register on one of those days based on your exact time assignment. So you'll get an email about a week before then that tells you your exact time and day to log in. Perfect. So Carolina, you can stop sharing those slides now. There should be a circle with a square in the corner of your screen, and you should be able to stop that sharing. Perfect. All right, so just to kind of summarize everything for the registration piece, you are, after June 1st, going to be able to make a work list. There are lots of links on the UBC websites about how to navigate the SSC and how to make those work lists and everything like that. Now, I will mention that your work list does not save a spot for you in your courses. So the work list itself is really just letting you play around with those courses, but isn't saving a spot. It's really at the time that you register that's when you have a spot in those courses. So hopefully that gives you a good sense of kind of everything that you need to know for the registration piece, but I know what a lot of you have questions about is also first year credit. So if you are coming into UBC Engineering with credit from AP, IB, or British Pattern Curriculum or A-levels, you might have first year credit, which means that you have equivalent courses to some of our first year courses in UBC Engineering. Now, UBC really recommends that you take your first year math, chem, and physics at UBC because that is the foundation of your degree. So all of your other courses for the rest of your degree are going to be based on those first year courses. So while you might have credit, we do recommend that you take those courses at UBC. If you have other circumstances or if you really do want to use that credit or any other credit that you might have, what we recommend is registering in all of your courses at the time of course registration, and then that gives you time throughout the summer to decide if you do want to drop any of those courses from your schedule and use that credit instead. Now, everyone that has credit, as long as you get those results sent to us, so for AP students, that would be making sure the College Board sends us your final results. For IB students, making sure IBO sends us your final results, and making sure that we get your final A-level results as well if you are a British Pattern student. So we will automatically, UBC admissions will automatically assess for transfer or first year credit for those courses. You will see in your SSC under transfer credit courses you do have credit for, and so we recommend waiting until you see that credit before making any of those decisions. Definitely if you have credit for first year English, a lot of you may have credit for 6 credits of English, or you might see 3 credits of WRCM and 3 credits of first year English. Any of those options would cover your first year English and your first year Humanities. So that's a good option to kind of use up 2 courses potentially that you don't have to take in first year. But again, it's really up to you whether you want to use that credit. Using that credit just means that you're going to drop those courses from your first year registration. So you don't need to do anything to activate your credit. We automatically do that. If you plan to use that credit, you're just not going to take those courses in first year essentially. And that's what advisors like Claudia are here for, to help you throughout the summer. If you do have questions about that or how that will look with the rest of your degree, that you can reach out to other advisors or Claudia about kind of what that would look like for you, and they can kind of work through that. But that's why we recommend registering now so that you have that time. You will have until September 22nd to add or drop any courses from your registration in term 1. So you have a lot of time to make those decisions and adjust your registration as needed. But we do recommend registering in all those courses as soon as your date and time is allowed to. But again, you can make changes throughout the summer if you need to. Hopefully that gives a good summary of first year credit. I know everyone has specific scenarios for themselves, so I do encourage you to go to the first year credit website to learn more about that. But that is pretty much it for the prepared information that I have. So if you have additional questions that we haven't covered today that you would like to know.
I think we've had there's a few more tech errors yet to come this evening, everybody. Hold on, Carolina, you seem to be front and center suddenly. Erin will likely join in again.
In the meantime, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, it looks like we were kind of leading into questions. A lot of you, I've been trying to answer as many as I can in the chat there as we've been going along. I guess I would like to add that really, if I was going to add anything to that formalized material, I would again reiterate that, as Erin was saying, that you can reach out to Engineering Academic Services, any of us advisors. We have dedicated appointment times that you can book through something called PD Portal. We also have quick questions. So if you just have a quick question, you just need to be, so we have certain times that we have that during the week. It's not, 8:30 to 4:30 every day, but we'll have certain times, and that's posted. I'll put a link. Erin may have added that link already because that's kind of an important one, our contact information, but I'll add it again in the chat in a bit too. But, that's one thing that I would really reiterate, that you don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions. You will be sent more information as well. June 1st is the kind of, date enrollment services will start contacting you and so on. So, do hold tight for a little bit. You don't have to do anything for registration right at this moment. So you have a lot of time to prepare before registration will ever actually start happening in July. Carolina, do you have any other advice for them at this point?
Yeah, I don't think anything specific. Congrats on all of you for getting into UBC Engineering. It's a really exciting time. And I know when I was registering, it was really overwhelming with all the different courses and stuff, but having the standardized timetable will really help with that, because you don't really have to build a big schedule and you can just kind of choose what works best for you. And I would just recommend try not to get overwhelmed because it is quite overwhelming, but if you take everything one step at a time, you'll get through it. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions for either of us, feel free to put them in the chat and we can answer either by message or orally as well.
Yeah, we'll try and keep up with it. And don't worry about registration. I mean, all students will get all of the courses that they need. So I know it's a little bit nail biting. Will I get, the sections that I want and so on? Well, that might be, not everybody can have the same STTs and so on, but usually different people want different things. So it all ends up working out and you will definitely get all the courses that you need. There's been a lot of questions, I will say, about Words 150 and your humanities courses, right? So you register into your STT, then you'll register into Words 150 and one humanities course. Now, there's a lot of questions, do I need to take those? And Words 150, and or equivalent. So you can take English 112, 111, 110 as well. We'll also cover that. I would say I would recommend getting it done by the end of your first year, but that's ideal. If it needs to go to second year, so be it. But the humanities, you're kind of given space in your year one to take one of the humanities course, and then usually year 2 or 3 is when you would do the other. But quite frankly, you can take them whenever you wish to. So if you were going to reduce your course load for year 1, then that humanities course might be the one to shift to summer, let's say. That's what a lot of people do. So there's been a few questions about that.
Oh, sorry. Just to add to that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. No, please do go ahead, Carolina.
Yeah. So I just, from personal experience, I did take words first term actually. But I do have quite a few friends who registered during the summer. That was a good option for them. And then just to clarify, if you are in the pre-biomedical timetable, you don't take your humanities in first year, but generally that's delayed to second year. I'm taking it during the summer, so I don't have to take it next year, but which is also an option as well.
Question about co-op. I'm just going to try and work up. You can start co-op in either year 2 or 3. So that's not something that you would be worrying about at this point.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in. I am back on. I'm going to leave my video off, but thank you for taking over while my internet decided to die. And I will mention with that co-op question that if you go into the first year Facebook group, we do have a video on co-op from a few weeks ago, so definitely check that out for more details about co-op. I will put that in the chat right now as well, the first year Facebook group.
Humanities courses held over summer. You can check if you go into your SSC, that's where you're going to be registering. Then you can look at courses. A lot of course offerings are kept fairly steady from one summer to the next, from one winter to the next, and that's for student planning. So if you look at things that are offered this summer, you can, expect that it likely would be offered next summer as well, but you can't be sure until that summer registration will come out. But there's such a wide variety of courses you can take. Don't worry too much about your humanities. That there's many thousands of courses you can take for that. So that's kind of the least of your worries. You'll definitely be able to find something that you want. The math department, you can contact, somebody had a question, I guess, about math. Yeah, you can contact them directly.
So that's probably for the honors math courses. So that would be the undergraduate chair. Let me pull up the link and I will send you where you can find those contacts for math. I will add that to the chat right away. So that link that I just added in is the math contact site. So usually you're contacting the undergraduate chair and there's a contact form on that link that I just provided that you can use.
Somebody, I see a question about second year placement in programs. It's based on the courses, all the courses that you take from September to the end of April is what will constitute something called your sessional evaluation for the year. And so, it's basically your GPA, a GPA that's got a weighted average of all the courses you take from September to April. That's your GPA, and then you also submit a personal statement. And it is competitive to get placed in certain programs or in all of the programs. So you'll rank all of the various programs and you'll submit that along with your program placement. And then that's all decided in the summer and you find out by the time you need to register for year 2.
Yeah, and you will get tons of information about second year placement in your first year course. So AppSci 100 actually introduces you to all of the different programs that we offer. You'll get presentations from those programs. And so you really have lots that you'll learn in your first year about kind of how that whole kind of piece works. And we'll have other videos throughout this summer as well where we'll talk more about kind of what it is like to choose your discipline and how that process works in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to try and keep the rest of the questions for the rest of this session today focused on course registration. So if you do have questions about other things, though, please put those into the first year Facebook group. So I'm on there monitoring pretty much daily. So if you have general questions that other students might also want to know the answer to, please put those into the first year Facebook group. Right now it's just me posting, so I feel a little lonely that I'm the only one posting in the group, but there's lots of you in there. So please do add your questions in there. There's also current students in there, so if you have questions, they always jump in and help answer those as well. So please post those questions in there so that we can use them. I do notice a question about courses that you drop when you are redeeming the AP/IB credits count towards your GPA. So your credits that you get from any transfer credits will not count towards your first year GPA. So your first year average will not include those AP/IB or A-level courses, or if you're transferring from another institution, it won't include those courses either. Will doing the HS STT increase your chances in getting placed into second year? Nope. It will not affect what STT you're in. The only STT that could impact second year placement is the PBME STT, or the pre-biomedical engineering STT, because if you meet the certain requirements, then you will get priority placement into biomedical engineering. But that's the only one that would have any effect, and that's if you meet all of the requirements kind of laid out. There's a question about Words 150 having different topics. So you won't be covering every topic, but you'll register in a Words 150B course that has a specific topic. Carolina, do you want to talk a little bit? Do you have any friends that took other topics than you, or different interests in kind of what some of those topics were like?
Yeah, so first of all, make sure that you do go look at the topics, like the list of topics that'll be posted on the Words website beforehand, because I have a lot of friends who didn't realize that was a thing and just registered in whichever section. I intentionally chose my section to be, the topic was the implications and constructions of race. So it was all about racism and everything that involved in different contexts, which was really, really interesting. I had a really good prof as well. There were also some topics such as, I believe one of them was to do with like urban development. There was big data and kind of more math-related topics. There's so many different things to choose from, and they basically just act as the backbone of the course. So all of our readings and writings were to do with our topic.
Awesome, thank you. So there's a few more questions about kind of how do making different choices affect your first year. So I'm going to kind of summarize these up. So there's one that asks about, does your humanities affect your average? Does taking 31 credits affect your placement? If you don't take all 37 credits and you take a different number, will that affect your placement? So for placement, like I said, we'll talk more about that throughout the summer. But placement itself is looking at whatever courses you've taken in first year, and there's a whole process that is outlined on the Engineering Academic Services website as well that you can take a look of those requirements. Students need to complete a minimum of 27 credits of our 37 credits in first year to be able to simply move to a year 2 standing. Now, for students who are taking less than the 37 credits of our required courses, you may not be meeting all of your prerequisite courses for second year. So the issue that comes into play then is that then you might be pushing off your second year courses that you have to take into later years, and you're going to end up extending your degree. So that's why we recommend register in all of your courses when you're able to, and then throughout the summer, you can set an appointment with Engineering Academic Services if there's a reason that you need to lighten your course load or want to discuss with an advisor. Then after June 1st, after you've registered in your courses even, that's when you can discuss with our advisors for some more information along those lines of any scenarios that might be specific to you. Our general advice would be to plan to take pretty much the whole course load. If you need to lighten a course load, Humanities is an easy one that you can push off to do in a summer because it is not going to be a prerequisite. But even English, your first year English is a prerequisite for several of our programs to take your communications course in second year. Claudia, did you want to add anything on to that? Sorry,
I was writing something in the chat.
Sorry.
So, this was about about reducing course load, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
questions surrounding that. Yeah, no, I think that pretty much covers it. One thing that comes up, because mechanical engineering is quite a popular program, they require, because that program actually starts a bit earlier, August 1st, than, or sorry, they start a little bit earlier than the rest of the programs. You need to have your courses all completed by August 1st at the latest. So if you did reduce your courses, you can only reduce courses that you could possibly take in term 1 of summer. You could still be placed in the program, but you couldn't start it. And it's because it's a very interesting program. It's very intertwined, all the courses, and they also start early. The rest of the courses, if you did reduce, but you've completed at least 27 credits, you could start your program, but it might be a little bit rougher than, you know, if you had completed all of your prerequisites. There might be a course or two that you can't take right away because you haven't completed the prereq yet, and then that, you know, kind of goes along the line. So ideally, you would complete the full 37 credits. If you need to reduce, absolutely, it's your program. You can decide how you wish to proceed. But just those are the things you have to be aware of as you go forward.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Claudia. The next question I see is about if you have a Chemistry 12 deficiency. So you will have received an email if you do have a Chemistry 12 or equivalent deficiency. You are still eligible to go into the HS STT. No problem with a Chem 12 deficiency. We do recommend that you do some self-study. So if you can look up the curriculum of Chemistry 12 to make sure that you are kind of have some of that knowledge going into it, but you will still be able to go into the HS STT without taking any additional courses. So it's a little bit different than that Physics 12 deficiency I mentioned. If you go into biomedical engineering in second year, do you have to take any extra courses to be at the same level as those who did the PBME STT? Yes. So if you go through the standard first year and you go into biomedical engineering will work with you to make sure that you take a couple extra courses to get back on track to have all of those requirements. Part of that is that the PBME STT has a full year of chemistry, and there are some biomedical specific courses that they take. It's not an issue really going into biomedical engineering, but your second year will just be altered a little bit to get you caught up. So it's not too big of a deal, and the program will work with you to do that. There's a question specifically about the CBSE curriculum. So if you have questions about that, please contact me directly. You can send me an email. I know that anyone that has, so whether it's CBSE or any other final exam that has been either postponed or canceled due to effects from COVID, that UBC admissions will be contacting students who are affected and will let you know. Likely what will happen is that we'll just need you to send your final results from your high school instead of the final results from your CBSE example, for example, if that affects you. So if you have any concerns about that, UBC admissions will likely towards the end of May be connecting with students that have been affected in different regions throughout the world that will not have their final exams. So just keep an eye out for that email, but we can let you know that anything from COVID will not affect you for your admission. So if you're not able to send us certain results, don't worry about that. Admissions will be in touch with you. There's a question about the difference between honors math and normal math. We talked a little bit about that already. Carolina, do you want to tell us how you found your first year math? So Carolina just took the regular first year Math 100 and Math 101. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what your math was like?
Yeah, for sure. So I found first term, which is Math 100, that's like the first part of calculus, that was kind of mostly review for me. I had taken IB math standard level in high school, so we had gone over a lot of those concepts, and it was mostly focused on derivation and differentiation, and then second term was integration. So I had gone over like a basic part of that course, but overall it was mostly new. I think if you just focus on the homework and you study well for the course, it's not too bad. I do have a friend who took honors math, and she found that it was just a lot of proofs. So if that's something that it really interests you and you want to continue with a lot like more challenging math, then that's something you should definitely consider. But if you're just looking to continue with like the general engineering program, and you want to potentially get like the highest grade possible, it might be best for you to just stick with the regular engineering program.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Carolina.
For sure.
If you do have questions as well, you can contact the math department. So if you're really kind of waffling between which one should I take, I'm a really strong student in math. I mean, I will say all of our students coming into engineering are going to be strong in math because that's just one of the requirements for admission. But if you feel like, you know, you really want that extra push in math, you definitely can contact the math department as well. And I have already provided that link to them. I see Claudia has been going through and answering a lot of questions by typing, so thank you so much. Again, if you have questions that aren't answered today, because we are already over time, but if you have questions that don't get answered, please comment in the Facebook group so that I can answer those questions and everyone can see those answers. If you have a very specific scenario to yourself, you're welcome to email me directly. And just a reminder that contacting Engineering Academic Services should be done after June 1st. So they're very busy right now. Claudia said they're just wrapping up graduation and things like that. So I'm going to help with any advising until June 1st. And then after June 1st is when we invite you to contact them. And you'll get more information about how to contact them and all of those pieces there. I see some questions about how do we find out which teacher is teaching a particular course. When the STT is posted, you will see if that's available. A lot of them for first year courses specifically don't get posted until much, much closer to the start of classes. A lot of the profs for first year, there's going to be like 1 or 2 profs teaching most of the sections that you're taking in first year. So you don't really get to choose too much. I would just focus on whichever timing is your preference rather than trying to look at what prof is available. Some questions about would you recommend applying for the pre-BME path if you're interested in going into biomedical engineering but not completely sure? I think if you're leaning towards that, I would highly encourage you to apply for the PBME STT. You still will be eligible for any of our other programs if you complete the PBME STT, but it will help you if you do want to go into biomedical engineering. So if you're like really not sure, then just take the standard first year. If you are interested in, if you're thinking you're pretty interested in biomedical engineering, then you may as well complete the supplementary form to see if you would be eligible for that. A couple questions about the recording of this. So as mentioned already, the recording will be in our Facebook group. It'll take me probably tomorrow throughout the day. Hopefully my internet improves so I can download it and upload it, but it'll be in the first year Facebook group probably by end of day tomorrow. There's a question about Calculus 12. And taking pre-calc or not. So whether you have Calculus 12 or equivalent, as long as you have pre-calculus, no matter what your grade is, engineering students have a special exception. So all of our first year engineering students go into Math 100, regardless of the math that you've completed in high school. Essentially, if you've been admitted to UBC engineering, you will take Math 100 in first year. If you're looking at last year's courses, you will see that that is a change, but going forward, you will not see any option to take another math other than Math 100. So that is new for this year. If you're looking at last year's courses, you will see that change, but you don't have to worry about those prerequisites for this year. Okay, I think that we've answered a lot of the questions. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other ones that we haven't answered. So either they've been answered earlier in the session, so you can always check it out in the recording to find your answer. But otherwise, I think most of them have been answered. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, I know that many more questions will come up over the next few weeks, even the next few months throughout the summer. So we are going to have more live sessions that I will hopefully not have internet connection issues for in the future throughout the summer. So really the best place for you to find out about all the information is I do send out emails to you every few weeks or so. So check those emails that are coming from, the email address is outreach@apsc.ubc.ca. So that's a great place to check that information. And then also join the first year Facebook group, because that is a great spot to find all of those kind of quick pieces that we're able to share year. So like I said, today I shared a list of a whole bunch of different scholarships that are available for high school students coming into engineering. So lots of free money. Who doesn't want free money? And so really use that Facebook group to ask your questions. I'm on there, so you can ask me any questions. You can connect with current students, and you can access the recording of this video, any of our past videos, and any of our future videos as well. So thank you all so much for joining me. Before we sign off, Claudia, any last piece of advice that you want to give our incoming first-year students for the next year?
Yes, this is a wonderful opportunity and enjoy it. You know, learning is, is a great gift for us all, and we are here to help you. So please do remember that anytime you're confused or anything, you can always, like I said, drop in, speak with us. If we don't have the answer, we'll find someone who does.
Awesome. And Carolina, before I get to you, I just put a link into our chat, so youtube.com/engineering stories. Carolina has some awesome videos on there. She worked for me this year, and she has 2 videos all about the first year courses, specific the ones that are the PBME courses as well as the regular courses. So if you want to know more about what those courses entail or about Carolina's advice for taking any of those courses, please log on to the YouTube channel Engineering Stories and watch her videos from this year. Our other vlogger, Crystal, has a lot of great information as well. She was a mechanical engineering student, and so she has lots of information about like what day in the life is like and things like that. And we have tons of videos from the past as well. So definitely check those out. Carolina, your piece of advice to, if you were in their shoes, so basically think back to last year. Carolina came to a lot of these online sessions last year. I always saw her name pop up. I know she enjoyed them, but Carolina, any piece of advice to these students coming into year 1?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I would just say take it one step at a time. It can get to be pretty overwhelming, so just try and make the decisions as they come and kind of stay in the present, because I still can't believe that I already finished a year of university. So it's going to go by really quickly, and yeah, just enjoy it as you're in it, essentially.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for joining me. Thank you for staying a little bit extra than what we planned. There were so many questions today, so I'm so glad that you were both here to help me answer all of those questions. Thank you to all of you that joined. I hope you have a great evening, and I'm so looking forward to see you more throughout the summer in our other online sessions that will be coming up in the first year Facebook group. And check out those emails that I'll be sending to you every few weeks as well throughout the summer. The one last thing I want to mention for you to look forward to is the first year engagement program that will be coming up in the summer. So you'll be getting more instructions on that shortly, but that will be a way for you to connect with other incoming students. You'll have a current student that is a leader in that group, so that is really a great opportunity to learn more and connect with other students as well. So in the meantime, join the first year Facebook group and ask all your questions on there, and you obviously can always send me an email if you have any questions as well. So thank you all so much for joining us. Carolina and Claudia, you're welcome to log off. Thank you for being a part of the session, and thank you to all of you that joined.